Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here with you all for another episode of Saybrook's Mindfulness Moment. So, as I introduce this practice today, I invite you to just start finding yourself into a comfortable way of being. And so here we are moving through the holiday season, as well as a pandemic, which this pandemic that we're still in, it has been traumatic for our nervous systems, from lockdown to possibly being sick with COVID to even perhaps the loss of a loved one, and so much in between. So we've all really received this wake-up call, I think, around the basics of self-care. And it's important to keep this knowledge in the forefront so we can learn from 2020 and even here in 2021 rather than shoving it away. So we're going to be opening up our hearts to all of life, the joys and the sorrows, and that can be really difficult, but also really wonderful. So it's important that we have ways to soothe our systems, our actual nervous systems, our bodies, our hearts, so that we don't get overwhelmed. And part of that is this meditation that we do together or on our own, that pause that we take. And then there's other ways that we can actually soothe our system, physically soothe our bodies, our minds, our nervous system, our hearts. And so I invite you to be in a place where you can experiment, where you won't be self-conscious about what you're doing, so that you can really play around with this and in practice with me. So we'll be practicing together through a few nervous system soothers that I would like to introduce. So just sitting right here where you are, however you are, maybe you are seated or you would like to be lying down. And just letting your shoulders relax. See if you can release the jaw, and soften the belly. And noticing the touch points of the body, where that body is feeling supported by the surface. And allowing your hands to be at ease and to relax. And you can even do this, even practice this with me, gripping your hands. So just making a tight fist, not too tight. But I notice when I'm doing this that I hold my breath and I tense in my body and in my muscles. And so making this tight fist, gripping and then releasing on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and open. Notice how you feel in your body, that letting go, that release, open to receive. And that's pretty powerful, that gripping of the fist and what happens in the rest of us. And then as we open and receive. And so there's a lot of different breathing practices that can help to soothe our system. So I want to practice one in particular because it's a stealth breath and it doesn't require anything too difficult. So you can do this anywhere, anytime, at the dinner table, in a meeting, standing in line, when you're with other people or by yourself, and no one will even know that you're doing it. So just breathing right now in a natural way, nice and easy. And so I would like you to breathe in through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth through pursed lips. So breathing in through the nose and then out through pursed lips. And so just breathing in this way, I won't be able to keep talking and then also do this practice. So that in through the nose, and then like you're breathing out, blowing out through a straw. And in fact, that's what this is called, is straw breathing. So breathing in through the nose and out through pursed lips. And so there's this tiniest bit of pressure that we're putting on the out breath through the mouth, which can feel really good and it's not super effortful. So, yeah, keep breathing in this way, in through the nose and out through the pursed lips. Nice and natural. And then maybe you've already started doing this on your own, but just beginning to elongate that exhale. So that exhale out through those pursed lips, just making it a little bit longer. And this isn't an exercise, so you don't need to push yourself here. Just extending that out breath a little bit more, not with too much effort, but just seeing if you can extend that exhalation a little bit more, a little bit more, and just to keep doing this. And notice how you feel. Maybe notice if there's a little bit more ease in the body, in the belly as it relaxes. Shoulders relaxing, breathing out through those pursed lips, elongating the exhalation. And you can keep doing this if you like, breathing in this way, or just coming back to a normal way of breathing, but noticing how you feel. That nice inhale through the nose and slow, elongated exhale. And this might feel a little bit awkward too, because maybe it's something new. So, in recognizing that you can play around with this, so when you elongate that exhalation, we're giving a signal to our parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest, that relaxation system. So it's actually sending that signal that we are sending to our bodies to bring ourselves into a bit more ease. And so this won't necessarily move us from super stress to that really complete oozy place of relaxation, but it can shift us from up here to maybe here or even here. And that's a really vital space. That's really powerful and important. So I like to use this straw breathing when I take pauses throughout the day. And I will do it for 3 or 5, 6, 7 breaths. And I love doing this when I'm on a Zoom meeting and I can do this stealth breathing. Maybe if you're feeling stressed or super busy, or maybe even in a difficult conversation. So again, it's not going to shift us into this place of complete relaxation, but it can just help us turn down the volume a little bit on that stress. So I invite you to play around with this and in what small way can you bring this into your day or your week? And some other things that are soothing, our own touch. So taking your hand to your heart, gentle and kind. And so this is really a sort of soft, tender self-compassion. And then notice how it might feel different if you make a fist with that one hand. And not too tight, but that fist over the heart, there's a sense of courage and bravery here. And then taking your other hand, open hand, over that fist. with that fierce self-compassion, that tender self-compassion. And any time where we can touch or soothe ourselves. And putting your hands to your face. And so just gently cradle the face. Maybe if you have glasses, it might feel nice to set those aside for a moment. And just about every creature on earth feels soothed by that gentle caressing of the face. Just rubbing around your face, maybe like how you would do to soothe a child or even an adult or someone that you care about, maybe a pet. I'm just making gentle soothing movements here. We rarely take time to do this. You might even bring that soothing touch down into the neck or maybe the shoulders. And then coming down to the arms, rubbing your hands up and down your arms. This can be very soothing and kind. And something we can also do is to shake. This can help release as well, actually shaking the arms, shaking the hands. Maybe standing up if you're wanting to, but this literal shaking and dancing around, shaking it out, releasing and breathing, releasing and breathing. And so whatever feels right for you, maybe it's just a more gentle, soothing touch, rubbing on the arms, or maybe that shaking movement. And then just to stop moving for a moment and to notice sensation, to notice what feels good for you. And another soothing practice we can do is to sway. And just noticing how this feels from side to side, or maybe rocking front to back, or maybe even in a circle, whatever feels nice for you, just this swaying and rocking. This can also be something to play with, very soothing. And I like to think of it as a little bit of a dance too, and add some dancing to it. And so all of these movements are signals that we are sending to ourselves that we care for soothing, that you might even be doing some of these yourself, or maybe just maybe a part of your own practice, but maybe incorporating a few of these things, maybe a hand to the heart and maybe the other onto your belly, and just swaying. And you can add a tone to this as well, a hum. Finding a tone that feels good. Doing that on the exhale with the out breath, that humming. So these are a lot of different things. So thank you for practicing with me. And at the very bare bones level, think of that stealth breathing this week, whenever you remember to remember that this stealth breathing technique, and just see how it goes. And remember the swaying and the rocking, the humming, and even shaking it out, or gently touching of the face. And so do the things that feel good for you. right? Soothing the system. So don't make it a big deal. Don't make it a big to do, but whatever small piece of this feels good for you and doable, to bring that in. And that's how we make change, right? Small step by small step by small step. And if we're going to be courageous and embrace all that life gives us, we need to soothe ourselves. So thank you so much for your kind attention. It's really been wonderful being here with you today, and take really good care